I flip the pages of my life, every line that I write as I make history. You could see me, you could see me, you could see me, yeah. Cause my life is an open book, oh. My life is an open book, oh. My life is an open book as I make history. You could see me, yeah.
We are inside the This Is How We Do It segment. Thank you if you are now joining us. You're tuned into Open Book. But before we go any further, I must say thank you very much to my glam squad. Thank you so much, Dow. But right now, Dow is busy with New York Fashion Week and all of that. So stepping in for him is Sapadilla Clothing, Luan John. Thank you very much for outfitting me today. And remember, you can look for Sapadilla Clothing on Facebook. It's an online store and the clothes are delivered to you. Can't get better than that. And of course, thank you to my AV trained, I was told to say it this way, my AV trained makeup artist Malika Yearwood of Ambrosia Cosmetics. And with me, you see these lovely ladies, Arlene, Villarule, makeup guru, eyebrows guru, makeup on point, hashtag beat that face. But today, she's just going to show us how we fix the brows and a little contouring. So I'm just going to pitch the ball over to Arlene because I have no idea. If not for Malika or if not for Shivi, I'll be doomed.
Okay, so my technique with the brow is very, very simple. It's important for you to know where the brow starts, where the arch should be, and where the brow ends. So you put the brush to the beginning of the nostril hole and rest the brush right there. This is where the brow should start. Not everyone has hair growing all the way in, but it is your job to create that shadow. It shouldn't go in too harsh because the head of the brow is always softer than the tail of the brow. So this is where the brow begins, the head of the brow, center of the cheek. This is where the arch begins. So let me put the brush upside down so you see that. This is where the arch begins. Sometimes from the head of the brow towards the arch is naturally shorter, but you want to lengthen that and give it you want it to balance. So this is where her arch would start to the front here and will end to the back, and the measurement for where the brow should end will be here. So we see that her brow doesn't start where it should and doesn't end, so I'm going to correct that with this technique that I'm going to use. So the first thing that I do is comb up and over. So the reason why we comb up is so that you could see where the brow, the hair of the brow to the bottom starts, so you could work from there. And I usually start from the bottom there because you're trying to get this clean, crisp line to the bottom there. So I'm going to use a cream gel today to line the bottom. So this is the head of the brow, as I mentioned before. We don't start here, we start just behind the head of the brow, and I'm just gently feathering that in light, short strokes. So I'm just going to pull this down a little bit, and I always like to measure to ensure. So we can bring this down a little bit further.
Paying attention to the detail.
Yes, because of course, if you're a makeup artist and you're doing this, you want the client to look as flawless as possible. This is your job. And if you're doing this for yourself, you also want to know that you're doing the correct thing. So behind the head of the brow, I will start. She has a full, her hair there is a lot, so we don't need to put too much product. So we just measuring again. This is where the arch should be. So we're taking this further, keeping it straight. The brow should be parallel from the head of the brow towards the arch. So we don't want to just suddenly drop. So we're taking this and we're creating a sort of an elbow. And we don't suddenly join it to the bottom line. So it's like two parallel lines are be forming, and then we connect coming down to the bottom there. So you will notice that there's some space inside it that needs filling in. You just go right ahead and you fill that space. So not everyone gets this right the first time, but I'll show you a trick, or the third. I'll show you a trick in how you can clean it up after. All right, so we have that height. Let's just make sure. Good. So the arch is extended over, and you could just use what is left in the brush and round it out.
Arlene, you have your own line now. Tell us a bit about that by the time.
Okay, so I have the only thing that we are lacking in the line right now that we're working on currently is the foundation and the concealer. Of course, I don't want to bring in any random foundation for our Caribbean skin. We know we oils, the Caribbean, the climate is very hot. So we want to make sure that we have something nice and matte that will keep steady on the skin even in the hot weather. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm using what is left on the brush and I'm bringing it over just on the parallel lines, top and bottom. I'm not working on the inside as yet because I don't want inside here to be too heavy. So I'm just going to make sure that, so we can bring this in a little bit further. And then what is left on the brush, I'm just gently going to feather up. So I'm feathering up like this to create hair-like strokes.
Right.
So we don't want inside here too heavy at all. We want it to look as natural and as authentic as possible. So we just feather that up. So we get the nice shape. We know where it starts is correct, where the arches is good, and the brow ends in the correct place. So I'm quickly going to use another angle brush, and I'm going to use a concealer to just define the shape a little bit more. So we want 3D. We want when you look, the brow actually frames the eye. So you want when you look at the face, the brow stands out, but not in a harsh way. So you're just going to define just under where we created this line. So you don't want to use a concealer that is too bright that it just looks falsely applied. You want to still keep that natural look.
And you know, brows are in style. Huh?
Oh my God.
Hashtag brows on point.
Listen to me, if your brows are done well, you just need mascara and you are ready to go.
Yeah.
So we blend this down. We always want to make sure you blend it properly. You don't want a thin white line top and bottom. And then we repeat the same step to the top. So it's like we're creating another brow and we cut it. So you always want your brow going back this way and cutting this way. The brow shouldn't come down like a long division sign there. Alright, so we cut in and then we start blending upward.
What I really appreciate about seeing this so close up is that it's not heavy makeup at all.
No.
So it's not recreating a face.
No, I'm
it's
just
really just
using
enhancement.
her natural face shape, one, to create the brow, and then we're using light product because we don't want it to look too heavy and harsh, and we still want to see hair. We don't want everything to be plastered down. Alright, so what I do, a trick is, because a lot of people don't know, one of my customers told me she used a shaver and she shaved the hair because your hair looked lighter inside. I was like, no, you create that. So I'm going to take the concealer and I'm going to extend it a little way past where the brow ends. So it naturally creates that shadow effect inside here. So we create it past there and then we blend that down. So this is one of my tricks in creating that softer blended version of the head of the brow as opposed to the tail of the brow. And simple as that, we have flawless brow that she could go out there with and sport and, you know, give the sweet eye and, you know, raise the brow. So this is the brow technique. So should I quickly go into the contouring technique? Okay, so Avi has the contour palette with various shades of brown that you could not only use for contouring, you could use that for shaping the eyes. You could use it for brow as well. You could use it for contouring the cheek, contouring the nose, but I also use this for eyeshadow. I will go in the corner of the eyes and I will use that to just create that outer shape and, or as we call it, outer contour for the eye. So on her, I'm just going to choose the color that I think will best blend in. You don't want to go with a color that is too harsh, that it looks like you place product there. It should always look like a shadow of your natural shadows. You just want to intensify that shadow. So I'm just gently going to tap into this product, and I always advise that you keep the brush flat like this as opposed to going in like that, because when you go in like this, you create a harsh line that is near impossible to blend after. So it always looks like, okay, that person contour. You always want to look flawless and natural and just enhance the natural features. So as I said, tap lightly and I press the product into the brush. So if I tap, there's very little coming off. So I would always start from the beginning of the nostril hole, and then I take this gently feathering going into the head of the brow. I will bring it back down. And similarly on the other side, I'm just going to keep the brush flat. So never go like this. Use the face of the brush and you go all the way up into the head of the brow. Come back down. You could fan out like this to the back of it so that from side view you don't see that harsh line. You blend it away. So we don't want anyone to look like Michael Jackson either. We want that nice, natural contour look. So if you want, you could highlight the bridge of the nose to make that contour a little bit more prominent. So I'm going to take a little bit of concealer just to show you the difference, and down the bridge of the nose I'm going to add that just blending it in. You don't want it to look too intense. So whenever you highlight in between your contour, the contour shows a bit more. You could neaten it up if you came in and you twist the nose a little bit, because contour could enhance and it could also make you look like you have a broken nose. Right. So you could clean up whatever you did with the concealer down the center of the nose. And
voila.
This is the before and after. This is the after.
And this is how we do it. This is how we do the contours of the nose, yes, and the eyebrow. So AV carries a line of...
So we have eyeshadows, we have mascara, we have lip liners, eyeliners, we have loose pigment eyeshadows, we have single eyeshadows, we have powders, we have banana powder, rice powder, we have, what else do we have? We have, you could get almost everything. We have mixing medium that you could use as a base. We have eyeshadow base, the white base that you would use over the eye before applying eyeshadow. I mean, we have tons of things there that will definitely give you your game face.
Where can we find AV?
Well, I'm based in Chagonas. My studio is based in Chagonas, Montrose, Chagonas, and you could go onto my page and you'll get full information, direction for where we are located. And then I also have a makeup kiosk at the Trin City Mall. It's upstairs in the new wing, 3 stores away from London Clothing. You cannot miss it. If you know where London Clothing is, a lot of people say, I walk the whole mall and I haven't seen this store. But it's 3 stores away from London Clothing, the new wing upstairs.
And this is how we do it. Thank you so much, Arlene, for living with us today.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. You guys are good folks. Cameraman and all.
That was the inside joke, guys.